Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
I'm going to guess that we're going to talk a lot about AI today.
Well, the Olympics kicked off this weekend.
Well, there's that too.
Which I just found something out that I did not know.
What's that?
You could have been the voice of the Olympics for the International Olympic Committee.
No, thanks for making that public.
Sorry.
Due to some circumstances that I was not able to accept that, but yes. Yeah.
How cool would that have been?
Yeah, I went back and forth on that for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see Marlo Anderson in a different light now.
Wow.
International man of mystery.
I was supposed to be over there.
Universal.
Over there in France enjoying protests and all of that right now. So,
you know, your biggest disappointment not being able to do it?
What's that?
They have really good baguettes.
Oh, yes.
Bagels and
yeah. I will get there anyway.
You would have liked the bread.
I'm going to go when it's not so busy.
They have croissant there.
I was watching some video. Some young lady was on TikTok, and she's like, "This is crazy." And she was showing, I want to get to that coffee shop or bake shop or whatever it is across the street, right? And she can't get there because they have 6-foot fences across on the sidewalk to the street. So she can't even just cross the street. It's
not
like
to prevent jaywalking.
20 feet away, and she can't get there because there's a fence in front of that place, and there's a fence in front of where she's at.
So you got to go to the corner?
So I suppose they have to walk all the way around, and I don't know how far the fence goes, but yeah, I suppose they're
20 feet away, but I have to walk 4 miles.
They're forcing people to use the crosswalks.
In the snow, barefoot.
That would be a problem for me, using the crosswalk.
You're a jaywalker?
Oh my goodness. That's good. It's good. It's good that we don't have the Chinese social credit going on here.
Well, but
because I wouldn't even be able to eat out at my favorite bake shop anymore because
part of AI.
I would lose my social standings.
Yeah, it's part of AI though. And AI.
We should probably explain that though. A lot of people might not know what we're talking about.
Well, it's the facial recognition software, and there's a lot of aspects that are being used in this country with the facial recognition software, whether you know it or not.
Well, it's true, but it's probably not at the level that the Chinese are.
Oh, heavens, no, nobody's at that level.
You know, so the Chinese, they actually have basically
implemented the
social credit score. Yeah. So what happens is if you continue to break laws, for example, and they can be minor infractions like jaywalking, right? And it impacts your social credit score. And after a while, you might not be able to eat at your favorite restaurant, or you go in to buy a house and they're going to tell you that you can't buy a house because you're not conforming to how we think you should act in public or whatever. So it's interesting. And then who makes those decisions? That's the thing that I find interesting, right?
Who says left to AI?
Who says it's okay to not jaywalk in a certain instance, but it's okay for you to jaywalk someplace else? For example, now
gray areas.
Universally, I would say that throwing trash on the ground would not be acceptable, because I think people should put trash in the trash receptacles no matter what.
Oh, I was in Minneapolis one time and somebody threw a big bag of fast food garbage. I'm like big bag.
Yeah.
Just threw it right out the window on an on-ramp.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck was that?
I know. I run
that drives me nuts.
It drives me nuts too. Totally dry outside, hasn't rained in 3.5 months, and people are throwing cigarettes out. Are you serious?
Yeah.
You couldn't just put that in the ashtray for...
We got to wind up dealing with Canadian wildfires further.
Did you, speaking of which, I know...
Squirrel!
All over the place. Have you been watching the Jasper situation? So Jasper National Park, and there's actually a town in Alberta, so it's Alberta, Canada, called Jasper. The town is basically gone.
Well, there used to be a town called Jasper.
Yeah, it's basically gone. And just a wall. They figured 300 to 400 foot flames, 300 to 400 feet came into this town.
Well, we've actually fairly recently seen that a couple different communities in the United States. California had a couple cities that gone.
Was it one Paradise?
Yeah.
That was like 5 or 8 years ago now. But yeah, that would be
fully consumed by a wall of fire.
Right. I can't imagine. But I do think about, we talk a lot about how technology messes with our lives, like a Chinese social credit score. But at the same time, if there wasn't technology like in the town of Jasper, Alberta, the ability to get on a cell phone or send a cell phone alert to everybody saying evacuate now type of scenario, how many more lives could have been lost? I'm not even sure if they actually, I haven't heard if there's a death count yet or not in the town. I think everybody got out. But
small town.
It's a smaller town.
Neighbors watch neighbors.
Yep. But I was watching, there were literal traffic jams trying to get out of the area though, because it's a big area for camping and hiking. And I mean, the area is pristine. I've always wanted to go there, as a matter of fact. I mean, some of the lakes there are just like, they're like mirrors off the mountains, right? I mean, some of these photos that you see of mountains and the lakes come from Jasper National Park.
Oh, really?
And they have an ice pack. They have glaciers basically. Yeah, that are obviously there all the time. So you get to, even when it's 80 or 90 degrees outside or 100 or whatever it is, you can probably go cool off a little bit. And,
kind of like hopping in the Missouri River.
It's kind of like that. Yes.
34 degrees.
Right.
Coming
all the time.
Yeah. It was crazy. And fires are absolutely insane. I was in the last group of cars that got to go through West Yellowstone when they were having all the fires.
Yeah.
That's 30 years ago now. Going through West Yellowstone when they were having all the fires, and it was like, oh, this is just, it was just a glow, and it was at night, and rearview mirror it was like daylight.
Allison and I have been in some very, very close calls with wildfires as well. I mean, we just 2 years ago, almost to the day, we were out in Washington State and got caught up in a wildfire situation. In fact, we were in a town, just a small town too, but we were getting apples and stuff to bring back home. And I'm like, what is that? There's a lot of smoke in the sky over there. As soon as I thought that, all of a sudden the siren goes off, and we couldn't even, we're on the river, and all we need to do is get on the other side of the river. All we had to do is cross the bridge. By the time we got there, they'd already shut it off. We couldn't go across. And the next thing you know, we're in about a 250-mile chase in front of this fire trying to get around it.
Oh, wow.
That town that we were in, no longer there.
Oh, that's it.
So
kind of brings it home a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. It was quite a scary day. But here we are, and we had technology to help us get around that. So that was always a good thing as well.
Maybe we can get technology to put fires out.
That would be great.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Let's get back to discovering the latest in technology with the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
So enough about our fire stories, but I feel bad for all the people in Jasper, Alberta.
Michael Martin Murphy song in my head now.
Which one is that?
Wildfire.
I guess I'm not familiar with that.
It's about the horse, though.
Oh, Wildfire. Yeah.
Rain calling one.
Yeah.
You don't want me singing.
We've actually affirmed to everybody that if we're in a karaoke bar, Steve or myself, that please. I
used to MC.
Do not
karaoke.
Put us up there. Really?
I did.
Oh, you're a karaoke person, not a karaoke.
No. Where's the Y?
And
actually,
it'd be karaoke.
The actual Japanese pronunciation of it is karaoke.
Karaoke. I could see that.
Yeah, that's the actual pronunciation. I don't know where people got karaoke from.
I guess I'm not sure either. So it's karaoke. I just think it sounds like a frog going ribbit. Karaoke. I don't know why I think that when I hear
Show me the Y.
There is no Y.
Show me the Y.
You're very valid point.
I used to MC karaoke though. back in the day.
And
back at Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Did you sing as well?
See, that was part of it. So the regular MC.
This would be why it's used to, by the way.
Yes, used to. Well, the regular MC, he was in the Guard. And so once a month he had to be gone, and I would fill in for him because it was comedy club at the Westward Ho.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
I've been there many times. Oh, no wonder.
Cool.
So were you part of Comedy Night then?
No, I wasn't the stand-up guy.
Well, you were if you were
Roger
hosting
did
karaoke.
it. Roger
karaoke.
did that. No, but I just emceed. You don't want me telling jokes. I don't remember jokes.
No. The joke was that you might sing.
Oh, very good.
That's
but I had a rule though, because with the karaoke, after comedy got done, then did karaoke. And I had one standing rule when I filled in. 5 songs. When I hit the 5th songs, the bar is closed. You have to go across the hall because this bar is closed. We're done. If I get to 5 songs, that means you're not singing and nobody wants to hear me sing. So I had 5 songs that.
Did you actually have a list of these 5 songs that you would do?
I did.
And one of them was the horse song?
No. Elvis Presley in the Ghetto.
You would sing In the Ghetto?
Yeah. The baritone, I can nail that.
I love that we're talking about technology, but this is way more interesting.
Randy Travis, Digging Up Bones. That was another one. I forget what.
Are you really good in the car when you sing these?
If nobody else is there to hear me.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was your second one. So
I don't remember what there was, but there were 5. There were 5
In the Ghetto and Digging Up Bones.
Yeah. And when I hit, as soon as I finished the 5th one, it's like, all right, y'all aren't here to hear me singing.
Did you actually
closed.
Hit the 5th one occasionally?
I did a few times and closed the bar, and people went, oh, I guess we better sing. I'm like, hey.
So you taught them a lesson, and then they would say,
your best advantage to drink more fish bowls, because the more you would drink, the better I would sound. And they were known for their fish bowls.
Wow.
But yeah, I used to MC karaoke once a month.
Again, used to. And I'm so glad that when you moved here,
I'm not going
that you haven't done that at all. But you have DJ'd weddings and things, right? You used to do that quite a bit.
Decades, yeah.
You don't do that anymore either, do you?
I actually miss doing weddings.
Do you?
Yeah. DJing a wedding dance was a pretty simple formula. Actually, I kept a track record of all of the people who stayed together and didn't stay together. Morbid curiosity, but I actually tracked that.
Remind me to always be on your good side, because
I was batting like 90-some%.
Oh, yeah. So you would only do weddings that you thought they'd stay together then?
Maybe.
Interesting.
No, I had a really good track record of, it's like, hey, if I did your wedding dance, you
so when you met the couple at like a coffee shop or whatever, did you like pass over a form and say, all right, you two have to fill this out, and if you don't pass 85%, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do your wedding. It's like, I don't want to ruin my record of over 90% of the nuptials staying together. So, yeah, interesting.
Although the very last one I did, like, officially before I moved out of state, because then I kind of semi-retired, but the last official one I did under my company, they didn't stay together. So I guess I take that as a loss.
So you did this for a couple of years or a couple of decades.
Yeah.
I would imagine the technology that you've seen through those couple of decades really changed a lot, right?
Yeah, it did. But I still like doing it old school. I mean,
like old school with records or actually CDs or what?
When I started, and it was, DJing for the radio station.
Yeah, which was records at the time, right?
Records at the time. We used to have, like, go to a teen dance or a high school dance or a middle school dance, and you would carry in these milk crates of albums and 45s.
Would you borrow like the promotional copies of the records that were sent to the radio stations?
Well, that's what we had.
Okay.
Because, it started out working for the radio station to do that, because back in the day, every radio station had a DJ unit or two, and that was an opportunity for the station would make a little money, but radio always didn't pay very well. So,
and I think we should probably
the DJs to make money.
There was actually, when radio stations got records, they would get a record that would say for promo only, or it would be stamped in such a way that you could not sell it. That was the whole idea behind it, is that they were sending that.
That always showed up at the records.
It's kind of funny how that is. And you see them.
And people actually really wanted those. They wanted those more than some of the albums.
That's correct. And then, in fact, if you...
I've got a promotional copy of the Beatles album.
That's correct.
You know what that's worth today?
Yeah, exactly. Because there was only maybe a couple thousand.
They didn't do a lot of those.
Right. So if you've noticed, I have a fascination for jukeboxes.
You do.
There's a new one out here, if you've seen that.
I didn't see the new one.
Yeah. So our son Chad has taken it upon himself to find the records that we need to put in these 3 jukeboxes now. And so
do you have all different iterations of jukeboxes? Do you have the digital and the CD and the record?
So they're all records, but the one I have at the house actually has a CD unit that you could purchase separately. So it was like 85. It was when that year of that was when that jukebox was produced. So they had a CD option for it, which I don't have. I should probably try to find that, but the others are just records. Yeah. The one up front here, totally refurbished and works wonderfully. It has the record sitting horizontally or vertically. Excuse me.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you can, when they spin, they're sitting vertically, and you can watch them. It's kind of a cool deal to watch them work in it.
Something about that Happy Days nostalgia.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and we'll have to go spin up a record.
And we're back. Don't miss a minute of the Tech Ranch as we explore the cutting edge of tech with Marlo and Steve. For more exclusive content, visit thetechranch.com.
All right. I suppose we should talk about some technology since it is the Tech Ranch.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about technology of playing.
We've been
DJ.
Yeah. We've been spending.
I went through albums and when I started on the radio, everything was on carts. They were called cart decks. Looked like an 8-track.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
yes.
Short tape, and you recorded the music onto that. I went through albums, cassettes, CDs. I'm dating myself. Remember mini discs?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you could put a lot of music on a mini disc. Went through that, and at the end of the day, because laptops and had all the music on a laptop, and at the end of the day, my favorite was still CDs, just for portability and being able to go, no, I want that, because you're picking up the vibe of a room and being able to just grab something, and I knew where everything was at.
Did you always...
I like my CDs better than my laptop.
Well, I can see that.
Boring.
I always felt like, I don't know, maybe, and I think it's come back a little bit, but I feel like the fidelity of music was lost for a long time after records went away.
That's part of the resurgence of records.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun, in my opinion. Steve Miller's Abracadabra, right? I don't know why I'm picking on that song, but you would have that guitar lick that would be do-do-do, do-do-do, and it would be like left speaker, right speaker, even in the car. And you're just like, I would get to the point where I'd be pointing to the different sides of the car when I'm listening to that song, because I knew that they would be on the right side, then the left side. And then all of a sudden, and I'm picking on like Sirius XM and all these other things started coming along. And the first time I listened to Abracadabra and I point to the left side and it's not there, it's all encompassing. And I'm like, what? They took it away from me?
Can I let you in on a little secret?
Yeah.
Very few albums were produced that way intentionally. What a lot of that was back in the 70s and early 80s, bad processing on the radio station side. They didn't have the technology to fully mix.
Yeah, so they would play it as a mono, basically.
It was running as a mono.
Yeah.
And that's why you got the different tracks.
And that's why I think even Sirius XM for the longest time, I think they're to a more encompassing sound. I mean, not just stereo. I think they do even more than that nowadays. I mean, I think most radio stations have like an HD quality type, even on the AM side now, there's AM HD. So anyway, but I just thought for the longest time we'd gotten away from that, and it's kind of started with the CD era, and then of course when MP3 came along, people were just ripping CDs basically to convert them to MP3s. Well, then it even got worse.
Yeah.
So
process correct.
Yeah. But I think it's gotten.
So what's music going to look like with AI? Because we've already dipped our toe into. Okay, this is an AI song because somebody's singing with somebody's.
Wasn't there a song that hit the top 40 that was
and people
totally AI?
Lost their mind about that.
Yeah, I forget the name of it now.
Yeah, it was AI.
But they came out after the fact and said, "Hey, this was totally done AI."
But that kind of set the parameters. It's like, okay, you can do that, but you better let people know.
I think you're probably right. You can't. I don't think at any time if you think you can Milli Vanilli
silly vanilli
any music moving forward for any length of time, you have another guest coming. You can get away with it for a while, like Milli Vanilli did.
You realize I'm going to have "Girl, You Know It's True" stuck in my head all damn day now, and it's your fault.
Mine's "Blame It on the Rain," one of my all-time favorite songs. It's funny how the group didn't survive, but their music did. Which I think is great. They had great songs, I think.
Well, there were great songs. They didn't have great songs.
Well, that's correct.
There were great songs.
Yeah, yep.
So, for those that don't know, Milli Vanilli, they lip-synced everything, so it wasn't actually them.
They had a set of professional musicians.
Yeah, it was a bunch
that were in studio, and then they would go out on stage when they would perform and lip sync to this.
Yeah.
And they were just basically a couple of actors.
That kind of opened up the door for all these different artists that, they would do a backtrack because if you're putting on a stage production rather than you're out there singing, it's different. And you get a little short of breath and you're running around, you're doing set change, all this. So they would do a backtrack so the artist can sing along with themselves.
Right.
And which is a little different than the lip syncing because you still have a live mic.
Yep.
And it's just mixed so the balance is right. But you've got this backtrack. But prior to that, which is acceptable in industry standards, there were artists that would go record a stage show and they're putting on the show and it would be all lip synced because they already pre-recorded it. So it sounded great. So they could do the show. They could do the act and the dancing around because it's really hard to sing while you're trying to catch your breath from dancing your butt off.
If you think about like a Janet Jackson or whatever, I mean, she performed like crazy. Paula Abdul's another one. Yeah, they
dancer turned singer.
All of it. Yeah.
But that was where it was kind of like, the lip syncing is not cool. We'll let the backtrack slide, but the lip syncing itself, people are paying good money to go to a show.
Well, but you have the other side of that. People are paying good money to go to a show. And there's the producer, I mean, there's $1 million worth of tickets on the line here. The last thing you want to have is Paula Abdul show up and she's got a raspy voice that day because she's got a little bit of a cold or something, right? So this backtrack helps with that.
Yet I'll go to George Strait and the show is him standing there strumming his guitar and singing like the Velvet Frog that he is.
Yes.
There's no show involved.
Right.
The show is listening to his music.
That's correct. It all just depends on who you're going to see. But
a little conversation in there.
Most shows nowadays at any type of concert level are $1 million plus.
So where does AI come in this future? Because we already had our, like I said, toe dipped in the water on it, and there was a little backlash after when people figured it out. Is there a place for AI in music that is going to be its own art form? Because I don't see it integrating really well, but I see it. Maybe there's a place for it.
I actually believe it's going to be the dominant.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to. It's already there. You just don't even know this, right? So they actually already have algorithms in place that when it listens, that the AI, when it listens to a song, can tell you if it's going to be a top 40 hit or not. They already know this, and they'll
those metrics for a long time,
and they will
different.
Yes, but then they'll run them through, and then if the group says, well, okay, I mean, this is great for the album if you're thinking about things that way, or this will be great as a single type of thing. And I'm sure there's a lot of groups that after the algorithm is played, or their production company or their producer is going to be like, nope, we're not putting this song out because it's not going to go anywhere. So why would we do that? Because the algorithm is saying no.
Thanks for staying with us on the Tech Ranch. Let's rejoin Marlo and Steve as they guide us through the fascinating world of technology.
Chris joining us on the Tech Ranch. And, okay, so Chris, you and I were talking, interesting scenario, because Marlo and I were talking about some of the AI stuff and music, and the connection to that would be the copyright stuff. And a lot of people use technology for housing things. It's so much simpler, but it's a service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to, whether you're an author or a composer, or you've got all this information, and you were telling me about an interesting scenario where Google Docs flagged somebody and they got locked out of their account.
Yeah. I saw this come across. Cory Doctorow, he's a podcaster, blogger who really talks about copyright a lot and different issues related to the internet. And this was his article about the software as a service and how, you use Google Drive or OneDrive or any of these other services, iCloud, to store your personal information, your tax forms, legal documents.
And that's where they've steered us all.
Right. And you're paying for this. A lot of times they say, well, it's all advertising run, so you're the product.
Yeah.
But when you're paying for that, then don't you own the product? So that's kind of the debate here. As an author, and she shares her manuscripts with her fans and lets them critique them as she's writing them, and don't really know what happened, but she got locked out because she violated some part of their policy. And they said, no, that's inappropriate.
So one of their standards.
Right. And so you're locked out, but they won't tell her what standards she violated. As the article talks about, normally the script is, if you're locked out and you shouldn't have been, the company gets very contrite and says, oh, sorry, we screwed up. It was automated. We looked at it. It's fine. No, this time they were like, no, she screwed up and she can't have her stuff.
But it's her stuff. And she
right.
paid. So that brings up an interesting question, because and we're talking about intellectual property right now, which is on a different plane than owning a car or a piece of land. Or do you still own your intellectual property if you're separated from it by, in this case, a service provider that says, yeah, we didn't like that standard that you violated or whatever. And by the way, getting into who gets to make that decision is another course of conversation. But okay, if you're separated from your intellectual property, technically you own it, but do you really own it at that point? And then that brings up the next question is, who does?
Right. Adobe got into trouble with this back in June. They put out their some revised terms of service that went directly at that. Now, generally speaking, an online service provider, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google Photos, what have you, they have this line, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here, that says, you grant us a license in perpetuity to display, host, do whatever we need to do with your content.
Part of the EULA.
Right.
Yeah.
You give us the right to do that. And a lot of times it's like, everyone says, oh my God, you own my stuff now. What it is that Facebook needs that license to host your photos, because if they don't, you could sue them for posting the photo you posted. So
okay, that's a little crazy.
Yeah. So that's a savings clause. They need that license so they can transmit and store and display your stuff.
That sounds like a licensing issue that easy fix.
Right.
Just give them the protection so they're not sued by something you post by you.
Right.
And you can't sue them because you posted it there. That's an easy fix. It seems like it's a lot easier fix than, okay, who really owns this? Because now you're opening up a whole different can of worms.
Right. Adobe had to backtrack and basically says, we're not going to train our AI on your stuff. You own your stuff. We're just hosting it for you. But we need to use automated and human technologies to scan your documents to look for spam, phishing, terrorism, and child pornography. Legitimate reasons why you'd want to get that stuff out of the internet. But it's capturing innocent people too.
So you mentioned the AI side of stuff, and we're not going to train our AI because I think a lot of these services rely on AI way more than anybody has a clue about. And going back to AI, you train AI. So if you're going to be training AI to look for these things, how do you filter it to make, you and I as a human being can make a judgment call. AI does not make judgment calls. It even trained, you can't train AI, at least at this point, to make a judgment call. That's a human characteristic.
Right.
So that middle ground, that gray area is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and grayer.
Right.
So
you look at some of the content moderation issues where Facebook will put you in Facebook jail because their content moderation has flagged you for something.
All right, everybody raise your hand if you have not been in Facebook jail.
That's right.
And nobody has their hand up right now.
That's right. So the first gut reaction on a lot of these services is that it got flagged, we're going to block it. And then they don't send it up to the human chain.
Well, and part of the problem with that is you're guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
Because they would flag things that you're like, why is that being flagged? Or it was something that wasn't flagged somewhere else. You shared it and then it's flagged.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why? So again, this is that guilty until proven innocent thing, which I really have a big problem with. You shouldn't have to spend time and energy as a consumer on a site like Facebook where, okay, you have to prove your innocence all the time. That takes up valuable space.
Yeah, I look at it like this. There's legitimate reasons why you want to pull stuff down as quickly as possible.
Right.
But years ago in New Zealand, a guy live streamed an assassination. He killed a news reporter and he live streamed it. You want that stuff taken down
you don't
as
want
soon
that
as possible.
Because then you want to be copycats and all.
Yeah, ISIS and legitimately bad actors.
Well, like ISIS when they were trying to live stream beheadings.
Right, you got to pull that stuff down.
So without creating this big gray area, though, how do you manage that?
A lot of innocent people get pulled into the fray when you're trying to cast a big net to take down everything that could possibly be worse. Innocent people get caught up.
Well, and that's part of the problem is you start leaving too much to technology or too much to that human interaction. You need the human interaction. It's just an AI does not fill that space yet.
If you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology. The Tech Ranch.
So, Marlo, I've heard of a chickadee, a chickpea, but what is a chick exec?
So have either of you been to CES before?
Yes.
Okay. How many years for you?
This is my 4th year.
Okay. And Kristen?
The first time I came was 10 years ago with my dad. It's one of our favorite shows.
Oh my goodness. So you've been coming here quite a bit. So what is your take of CES night 2019 compared to maybe years past?
I I just think it's so exciting to see all the new development products and kind of see what's new to market. I think that always the curved TVs are really fun to see. But this year we're seeing a lot of cool beauty products, which is very relevant to us. We're seeing the cordless curling irons, the cordless hair dryers, and that's really exciting to us. Yeah.
I need one of those cordless hair dryer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how about yourself? Anything new that you're seeing that's exciting?
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with Kristen. I've been here, and this is one of my favorite shows. I get to travel quite a bit with our business, and I love it because it's like walking into Back to the Future and seeing the stuff that's coming and the new inventions. Last year, I was really geeking out over all the home stuff and, clothes that fold themselves and do all that stuff and take that off. So that was really great. This year we have been doing a lot of meetings with beauty, and so I'm very much enjoying that side of it. Faster, more efficient, healthier. This area with respect to education of things that are happening with your body that we don't even realize due to technology, and the tools that we have that can actually counter that is really exciting to me.
So anything that stands out to you this year?
I think Food Marble is really awesome. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to figure this out.
So tell me about this.
Food Marble is really great. It's something that identifies food sensitivities that you may have with different things that you're eating. So if you're feeling kind of sensitive to gluten or to dairy, you can blow into a device that they have and see exactly what is causing you to not feel right. And I think that's really important. There's so many different things in our food nowadays, and it's important to kind of identify what's making you not feel right so that you can feel your best.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How about you? Anything that stands out?
No, what I'm really drawn to is a lot of the technology that we're using that are a benefit to our children, because we often get defensive as parents or just in society that too much technology, watch out for technology. But we've seen a lot of toys that are soothing, music, companions. We've also seen toothbrush apps that are games to keep them brushing long enough. And for me, to see that the power of technology for our children, for their health, has been really exciting.
Thank you, ladies. This is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson, at CES 2019.
Supertalk 1270.
Welcome to July 27th on the National Day calendar. Today we're toasting to a distinguished drink and celebrating a state with a storied past.
First up, it's National Scotch Day. Scotch whiskey, often simply called Scotch, has a rich history that ties deeply with the culture of Scotland. But here's something you might not know. Scotch whiskey was initially considered illegal. In 1644, the Scottish Parliament imposed a tax on whiskey production, leading many distillers to go underground. It wasn't until 1823, with the Excise Act, that Scotch whiskey was officially recognized and taxed, paving the way for the industry to flourish. Today, Scotch is enjoyed worldwide and governed by strict regulations to ensure its authenticity. So, the next time you sip a glass of Scotch, remember, it's a drink that fought to survive.
Scotch. I love Scotch. Scotchy Scotch Scotch. Here it goes down.
All right, 2 glasses, 2 large cubes of ice. Topping that off now with a little bit of my favorite Scotch. And here you go, LaToya.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh.
It's an acquired taste to some. That's all I can say. From the highlands of Scotland, we move to the shores of America with National New Jersey Day. New Jersey, one of the original 13 colonies, boasts a variety of firsts, from the first organized baseball game to the first boardwalk in Atlantic City. But did you know that New Jersey was the site of a pivotal moment in aviation history? In 1910, the first successful passenger flight in the United States took off from Atlantic City. Glenn Curtiss, a pioneer aviator, piloted his groundbreaking flight, changing the course of travel forever. So today, as you think about New Jersey, remember it's not just the Garden State. It's a state that has helped shape the world as we know it.
I've never been to New Jersey.
Well, I think next year for New Jersey Day, we should do our show there.
I think that's a great idea, but how about we go there today and celebrate? Come on, Marlo.
My goodness, it's a little time to get there, but maybe. Let's talk about it.
Okay, I'm LaToya Johnson.
I'm Marlo Anderson.
Thank you for joining us on our journey to celebrate every day.
Till next time, keep celebrating.
This is Outdoor Issues with Neil Roberts and North Dakota Game and Fish Outreach Biologist Greg Gullickson.
We're on location at the North Dakota State Fair this week, and we are talking volunteers, especially for the North Dakota State Game and Fish Department that have a generous chunk of grounds out here. And one of those volunteers is joining us now, Clyde Gross from Bismarck. And Clyde, I know volunteers make up roughly half the staff out here over the 9-day event. Tell us about your time here at the fair.
Well, I usually spend 3 days here. I've been doing it for years, and it's a great time. You spend it with the kids, learn, meet people and I was talking to a lady, and sure enough, she knew my brother's wife. All I have to do is talk and visit, find out a lot of things.
All right, good stuff. Hey, we'll talk more on volunteering with Clyde when we come back.
Fort Myers Beach is back. Discover the brand new Margaritaville Beach Resort, Fort Myers Beach. Escape to our beachfront paradise with the perfect blend of adventure and relaxation. Taste the tropics at our 6-island-inspired bars and restaurants. Dive into Fins Up Beach Club, the action-packed aquatic playground featuring a lagoon-style pool. Unwind in the laid-back luxury of your oceanfront room. Indulge yourself at St. Somewhere Spa. Margaritaville, Fort Myers Beach, the perfect escape. Check us out at MargaritavilleResorts.com.
Four Bears Casino now has Vegas-style sports betting at our on-site sportsbook. Place bets with our staff or at the self-serve kiosks and watch the action in comfort right up to the final moment.
Bottom of the ninth, 2 minutes left on the clock. Down the stretch.
He's at the 30, the 20.
From way down. T. Good go all the way. Back, and gone.
No matter how you play it, it's game time. Sportsbook at Four Bears Casino and Lodge, 4 miles west of Newtown.
We're with Clyde Gross from Bismarck on Outdoor Issues today, and Clyde talking volunteering for State Game and Fish. And you do more than just the state fair, I know. Tell us about where else you help out.
I help with classes. I do whatever. I've worked fishing tournaments to trap shoots to volunteer wherever they need me, basically. And if I have time, I spend it there.
Do some hunter ed as well?
Yes, I teach 1 or 2 classes a year, or I help with a class. Just got through with a class in Beulah a couple months ago, so wherever I can fit in, I'll be there.
What's your favorite part of volunteering?
You got to do it this way. The youngsters get a sense of what is all about. And you got to give the kids time and a little education. And they can run and go a lot farther than if you give them a chance. It's well worth spending the time with them.
All right, good stuff, Clyde. Thanks for your time. And that'll bring this report to a close. Until next time, I'm Neil Roberts.
You've been listening to Outdoor Issues, brought to you in part by the Margaritaville Resort in Fort Myers Beach, Florida, by Four Bears Casino and Lodge near Newtown, North Dakota, and by Bones Barbecue and Smokehouse in Minot.
Supertalk 1270. KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union studio.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Air quality alerts are in effect for at least 6 western states as several wildfires continue to rage. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is in Chico, California.
The Park Fire, burning in California's Butte and Tehama counties, has quickly become the state's largest fire so far this year. This as firefighters struggle to gain an upper hand with 0% contained. At least 134 structures destroyed and more than 4,000 people evacuated.
100 days to go till the November election. Vice President Kamala Harris holding events across the country this weekend, raising over $100 million in just a matter of days. Her campaign boasting of 30,000 new volunteers. Donald Trump saying he's going to return to outdoor rallies and says Secret Service will step up operations following the attempted assassination at an event in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president meeting with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu in Mar-a-Lago Friday. This is ABC News. A North Carolina man who has dedicated nearly 6 decades of his life to cutting soldiers' hair has learned he's going into the National Barber Hall of Fame. ABC's Monique John has more.
Over the course of almost 60 years, Travis Bell says he's given haircuts to about 16,000 soldiers at Fort Liberty.
It's like in my living room at home when he's in my chair.
He learned to cut hair after one of his brothers became a barber in the 50s. He says initially he was intimidated by the high-ranking officials in his chair.
I couldn't hardly move them clippers. They were so heavy. If I mess this man's hair up, I'm in trouble.
Bell says he feels fortunate to have met so many soldiers over the years.
The ceremony to be held in September. ESPN reporting that Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers has signed the biggest quarterback contract in NFL history, a 4-year deal worth $220 million. The 25-year-old set to make $55 million a year in salary. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text RIP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text RIP to 42424. That's RIP to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure.
Supertalk 1270, Bismarck area weather.
With your forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. Hot today under mostly sunny skies. A high of 92. Add in a little humidity as well. Slight chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon. For tonight, slight chance of a storm. Lows around 66. Scattered showers and thunderstorms on your Sunday. Otherwise, partly sunny, 85. Grandpa's barbecue sauce is perfect for summer grilling. Get a bottle at grandpa'sbbqshop.com. Currently, 88 degrees.
From ABC Sports, I'm Joey Waller. ESPN's Adam Schefter says Packers quarterback Jordan Love has a 4-year, $220 million extension. His $55 million annual value tying for the NFL's highest ever with the Bengals' Joe Burrow and the Jaguars' Trevor Lawrence.
The two sides have been going back and forth all week long, but essentially they didn't want him to miss any more time. And they knew they were going to sign him, and they knew what the numbers were. The breakthrough might have come when Trevor Lawrence did a deal that averaged $55 million earlier this summer.
And Schefter says quarterback Tua Tagovailoa receives 4 years, $212.4 million. That's the richest contract in Dolphins history. Olympics in Paris for their drone spying during opponent New Zealand's practices last week. FIFA penalizing Canadian women's soccer 6 points, hurting their chances of advancing to knockout round play. And Bev Priestman suspended from coaching for 1 year. Brody Malone falling twice on high bar, once on pommel horse, knocking him from the all-around competition. But synchronized divers Cassidy Cook and Sarah Bacon win the first U.S. medal, a silver. ESPN's Jesse Rogers says the Blue Jays are trading Nate Pearson, their reliever, to the Cubs for a prospect. Mets head of the Braves last night, their 5th straight win, belting 3 third-inning homers of loser Charlie Morton. What a J.D. Martinez slam. New York now a half game up on Atlanta for the NL's top wild card, but it is first start this year back from injury. Mets ace Kodai Senga straining his calf, and manager Carlos Mendoza now says the righty's done for the regular season.
You hate to see him go down like that, especially after what he's been through the whole year. But, you know, people will step up if he's down.
3M Open in Minnesota right now. The leader, Taylor Pendrith, 12 under through 5. Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
Summer is heating up, just like the deals at Omaha Steaks. From perfectly aged steaks to juicy burgers, Omaha Steaks is your summer grilling headquarters. Shop the hotter than fire sale at omahasteaks.com for exclusive, unconditional money-back guaranteed packages starting at $99. Plus, get an extra $10 off with promo code QUALITY at checkout. Visit omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY for an extra $10 off. Shop the hotter than fire sale today before these deals go up in smoke. Omaha Steaks, America's original.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Catch the Tech Ranch with Marlo Anderson
and Steve Bakken
on Supertalk 1270, Saturday afternoons 1 till 4 on Supertalk 1270.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
Chris on the Tech Ranch. I'm Steve Bakken, and get back to Marlo in a little bit here. But we started on the Google vein, and I want to kind of continue that because with all these different search engines and AI and things are proceeding so rapidly right now. They're just light speed moving forward, and yet, and this has been a conversation in the past. Google pops up right to the top. Google's always at the forefront.
Yeah, and primarily their Bard AI is the first result when you do most Google searches.
Yep. Google it. Okay.
Right. And and in the past you were able to game the system by using word tags and whatnot, keywords to get your site at the very top. And
you can't do that now.
You can't manipulate.
Or it's getting harder.
Right. But used to be that's like, okay, the most relevant thing is at the top. Well, now you can't even turn this off, I don't think. Google's AI overview is the first result. And I can see where they're coming from.
There's dollars involved with being bumped up to the top too.
Right.
So, because like a lot of companies will pay to be up there. I get in this habit when I Google search something, I never look at the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I go down about 3 or 4 because for me, that tends to be, just as a rule of thumb, the relevant one that I'm looking for, that's a legitimate answer to my query. It's buried a little bit. It's down there. It's not the top one on the list usually.
Right. I was helping my son with his driver's ed stuff this week, and
did you Google how to parallel park?
Well, no, but it's like the questions are like, well, what lane should you be in? What's your lane position? And it's like I spent 40 years since I took driver's ed.
Can you do me one favor?
Yeah.
Because this is a pet peeve of mine. People that don't know how to stay in their lane when they're turning.
Yes.
Whether you're turning right or turning left, you're supposed to turn into the adjacent lane, the closest lane. And people never do that. It drives me nuts. So make sure he's got that down.
Oh,
I'll be good.
He's got that down. But the issue is that they show you a picture or a graphic of it. And it's like, and he has a hard time visualizing things. So it's like, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to Google this to see if there's an easier answer or look for something, some rule manual somewhere, it pops up AI. And like an idiot, I look at the AI as the answer and it's like, they were wrong. And it's like, oh no, go back. I screwed up because AI told me the wrong thing.
Wow.
And it's like, how
long before we get over that? Because when AI first came out, ChatGPT and Marlo and I would do this on the radio, just, okay, we know we're going to get a wrong answer because it's learning. And when it was in its infancy learning, you'd say, yeah, cut it some slack. Doesn't know what it doesn't know yet. How long before it does know what it should know? Because there's still simple questions that, for example, 2 + 2, it's not 8.
No, it's 5.
Yeah. But it'll get it, things like that wrong. Yeah. This is the most rudimentary thing that we can imagine, and AI will get it wrong.
Right.
So, how long before that fixes itself?
I don't know.
Because that's supposed to. It's learning.
I think part of the problem is how we ask the AI I think we expect too much of it. And I think that's where this Google.
What's 2 + 2?
Right.
It's not
straightforward.
5.
Straightforward. I'm referencing George Orwell. But you're looking at Google, you're looking for an answer. You're looking for a link or something. And you're not expecting that you're asking an AI.
It doesn't have to be the right answer. Here's your answer.
Right. So I think it's unexpected to see an AI at the first and foremost. And I think most people are used to looking at the very top. And if that's wrong, then that's a problem for you as the individual, that you've been given the wrong information. Now, here where we're using AI in the office, I can think of an example. The podcast that Marlo does for the national days. And one of the prompts is, it's like, okay, I want to do a script about these days. I'm going to give you the name of the day, and I want you to write it in this way and include an interesting tidbit or an interesting fact about that. Well, the one they did for Avocado Day came up saying that in the early...
Now I'm craving guacamole.
Yeah, in the early 1920s, they tried to boost popularity of the avocado by marketing it as the alligator pear. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So let me look. So I started looking into the information because, well, if that's the case, I want to see if I can find an old commercial or something, No, it was the opposite. Alligator pear was what they've been using for eons. And the avocado grower's like, that's disgusting. Nobody's going to eat an alligator pear. Let's use the word avocado. Let's just market it as it is and find any producer that doesn't.
Wow.
I mean, that was so it's like, yeah, I gave you an interesting fact, but it was the wrong fact. So I think it grasps at straws.
And sometimes it'll have the right pieces, not in the right order, not in the right sequence, but it'll have, well, we get a little tidbit here that's based in fact, and then AI will take it into the rumor and conjecture area on its own.
Right. I think when you're asking it for facts, directly asking the AI for facts, a lot of times it cannot search the web. So it's only going on based on what it's been trained with. So it's trying to piece words together as a normal human would speak. It's not worried about the content of what it's piecing together.
Who was the first man to step on the moon? No, it's not Marlo Anderson.
Right. I've asked it to give me a list of the top 10 songs about bananas. I think I mentioned this on Tech Ranch once before. Every single song I recommended didn't exist. I said, okay, give me the top 10 songs about umbrellas. And it gave me Rihanna's Umbrella as one of them. But then it was down, and it gave me Rolling Stones' The Satisfaction video. And it said, while it's not about umbrellas, there's a scene in the video where he's dancing with an umbrella.
Gene Kelly Singing in the Rain popped up.
And it's like, I'll go and it's like, no, I've seen that video. Mick Jagger does not dance with an umbrella in that video. So you got to be smarter than the AI.
Oh, okay. And that brings up an entirely different line of questioning is, okay, AI was there to augment human experience, human intelligence, but now you just said you have to be smarter than the AI. And is it just knowing the right questions to ask, or is it, okay, it's just a tool and you layer in a piece, but you still need to do your piece? And it's interesting dichotomy.
Yeah, I think there's a podcast editing software out there called Descript, and they've incorporated a lot of AI stuff in there to help with video editing and removing filler words and pauses. They call theirs the Underlord because you're still in charge of your content.
See, I like that now.
Yeah.
I like that. We need to kind of keep that in mind. Otherwise, we'll wind up like the Matrix.
Thanks for staying with us on the Tech Ranch. Let's rejoin Marlo and Steve as they guide us through the fascinating world of technology.
So cybersecurity always top of mind, or at least it should be. And Chris is with us on the Tech Ranch this morning. And we have gotten into a little bit more and more and more of data breaches lately. And I don't know why. because all this technology that keeps going into, security and cybersecurity and making sure and for some reason there's more and more. We just had another big breach with AT&T. AT&T had their call records hacked, and a lot of them. So what's going on, Chris? And how do you protect against this? I know there's some changes with passwords, and I see more and more of two-factor authentication. That's kind of the norm now. 3 factors right around the corner. And for me to log in just to do something quick, it's like, okay, 5 minutes later, I might finally get logged in. Where are we at?
Yeah, I don't know where it's going, because I've ran into that 2-factor problem myself. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like somebody last year hacked into my Amazon account and changed all the email addresses and everything. And I kept fighting with Amazon trying to get it fixed, and finally got them to fix it. But they sent me an email saying it was fixed, but they just reverted everything back. The hacker got the email too.
Oh, gee.
And he went and immediately changed
before you.
Yeah. He immediately changed it back to what he had done before. So I said, screw it. I'm just creating a new Amazon account. I've lost some of my Audible stuff, some of my Kindle stuff, but it's like, screw it. I closed all my credit cards and changed all that. And so he can't. And it was funny. It's like, why would you hack into my Amazon account? You're not buying anything on my cards.
Because I can.
Yeah. It's like, so I don't know.
Seriously. It's like a video game to some people. But with the crowdsource failing, and then now the Snowflake cloud was the AT&T one that got the record stolen. There's more and more cybersecurity failings that are popping up because of the clouds.
Right. And I think some of the hackers have kind of figured out a way to get around that.
Their game in the clouds.
Right. Like Google has this built in Chrome malware detection, and there's safe browsing, but it's unable to flag malicious files that might be embedded in a zip file or something like that. So if you're trying to download a zip file or something that might have malicious content in it, now Chrome is saying, well, you have to upload that to our servers so we can dig deeper into it to find out if it's safe or not. And while if you're just downloading something randomly off the internet, that might be a good safer feature. But if it's a legitimate thing, and back to what we were talking about earlier, who owns the content? It's like, this is everything in here is covered under an NDA. So maybe it's something that you're working on, like a graphics project with a company, and you're not allowed to disclose it. Well, suddenly you've uploaded it to Google for them to scan it. You've disclosed and violated your NDA. So there's got to be a happy medium here to protect people, but also educate them. I mean, we are launching in August, I think, a new national day about social engineering. And you just have to teach people not to click on stuff.
I use that excuse at work at the radio station all the time. It's like, because they do phishing attempt stuff. I'm like, basically, it's my excuse to anything I get from corporate. I don't have to answer.
Right.
Oh, that might be a phishing attempt. Don't click on it.
I was checking my
what are they going to do about it?
I was checking my email.
You
today.
Didn't check that email? I'm like, no, I thought you were phishing. So I'm being cyber secure.
That's right. I got an email. I checked my spam folder today, and then there was an email from Amy in the office, and I knew right away that it was phishing because the email address was bizarre. And it's like, hey, yeah, I don't want to do this other than email. I need you to go out and buy some cards because we're doing bonuses for the staff, but I don't want to say anything until it's announced. And it's like, yeah, you want me to go out and buy some gift cards?
Because I can't walk to the office right next door to me and
buy them myself.
Yeah.
So it was but it was kind of interesting. That's like, oh, okay. Instead of telling me that my grandson has been kidnapped and I should send gift cards, it's like, no, we're doing bonuses for the staff. You go out and pick these up. It's like, why do I have to pick them up?
Yeah, send Marlo.
That's right. So I'm trying to look more into this
so
Google thing.
The cybersecurity, though, cognizant, Jim, because nobody looks, most people, like 99% of people do not look at the email address. If they'll see an email come in and it's like, oh, okay. And they'll click on it and open it up. And not many people think about looking at the address. There's a set of protocols you should, from a cybersecurity perspective, go through. Nobody does that.
Well,
people are in a hurry. Part of it's just because people are in a hurry.
Right. And I think, too, it's like when I get, I don't know about an Android phone, but on my iPhone, when I open up my emails, it doesn't show me the email address. It shows me whatever the name is.
Right.
And I have to actually click on the name to check the email address.
Yeah, my Android, same way.
Yeah. So it's like on desktop, the email address is usually obviously right there. Who's going to think to do that? I constantly am telling Shannon that,
again, everybody's in a hurry.
Check the email address. Just check the email address, because it's the biggest thing now is scams on Taylor Swift tickets.
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
It's been around for a while.
The bigger the artist, the bigger the scam.
Shannon's friend got dinged earlier this year thinking that she had a deal, and then the tickets never showed. And then she was going with PayPal to try to recover this. Well, I think it was a dual scam, because the person that she paid on PayPal says, no, that's a payment for services rendered. It wasn't fraud. Well, I think somebody...
services?
Graphic design is what she was saying. And it's like, so I think somebody pretended to do a graphic design thing with this person, scammed this person for the money, and then sent it over. So it's kind of like a middleman kind of thing.
Okay, but they're getting more creative when it comes to these different scams. It's not the, hey, I'm this Jamaican prince or South Africa. It's way more complicated than that. I don't know if they'll fall for those.
I need your help getting gold out of the country. I will give you $10 million to send me your DNA sample, your last four of your social, and your mother's maiden name, and I will get you this money.
But then you're going to be rich.
Right.
Where does this wind up? Because is there a role for AI to help? I mean, is it a personal AI? Where does cybersecurity wind up? Because there's so many scams going on right now. So I don't know.
AI could help with spam detection, I think.
But you got to have your personal AI, that Butler service.
That's right.
That avenue of that personal accountability.
Yeah, we need to bring back Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, I miss Jeeves, by the way.
You're listening to The Tech Ranch, where technology comes alive. Let's dive back into the conversation with Marlo and Steve. And don't forget to check out thetechranch.com for more.
All right, we need to get off our high horse here for a while.
We're on a horse?
We are on a horse.
Like Putin?
Not quite.
Shirtless?
Not quite. You don't want to see me shirtless on a horse.
No.
Thanks for painting that image for everybody.
Bad enough I had to think about you singing in the shower.
The old fat bald guy on a horse now? Are you serious?
Hey, could you do a comb over from the horse's mane? Maybe.
All I need is the wind to blow from the left to the right for me, so my hair will stay okay. Because that's how the comb over works right now.
North Dakota, the wind goes.
Anytime the wind comes from the right to the left for me, it causes issues, because that one hair just stands straight up.
Oh, it doesn't go all the way over?
Can't stop. Because, it's combed over from my ear on the left side, so it'll flop back over that way. So clever weaving, that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, as I continue to let it grow longer, I need to get my hair cut. All right.
You want to be able to braid it into the back hair eventually, right?
No comment. Stop making fun of me.
See what happens when we're not in the studio together
That's right.
for too long?
That's right.
Bad things happen. All right.
Well, I don't know. Wow. I know you have some space stuff. I have this crazy thing to
Oh, come on. You already talked about it. Spit it out.
All right.
Once you broach it, you got to finish.
I know. I just don't know if I want to go here on public radio stuff, I guess. But all right. So Deepfake creators sell non-consensual images on hidden websites that take Visa, MasterCard. So I guess that's probably the biggest thing. So fake sexually explicit videos of celebrity women from around the world.
Like an OnlyFans site.
But not approved by, I mean, they're taking basically.
They're just making stuff up.
Yeah. An image of a celebrity. And then they are deepfaking it.
So they can make you taller and better looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can. They can do whatever, right?
You should do that yourself first. Beat them to the punch.
This is becoming a thing, though. This is crazy, right? And we've talked about this before, how easy this will be, and that the sex industry is going to be the ones who will embrace this first to make it commonplace. It's very similar to the VHS beta war in the 80s, and it was the porn industry that finally accepted the VHS side, and that's why VHS became the popular format. Well, that's kind of what's going to happen here with like deep fakes and things too. And so the website's called Fantopia, by the way. So like, what was the other one you were talking about?
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah. So it's similar in that regard, I guess.
Told.
Even though and they're using Visa, MasterCard, even though the credit card companies have said that transactions are not allowed. So the credit card companies are now at war with these type of sites as well, because I suppose the sites say they're doing something else and then they get approved and then they afterwards, are charging for these type of things. So it's interesting. The site has been at war too. I'm just reading here. After the site appeared to shut down major accounts on the platform following a March NBC News article, deepfake accounts have returned to Fantopia using hidden links. So yeah, there's always workarounds, right? This is what scares me about deep fakes, is that you just, from moving forward, you can't trust anything that you see. Which is, I think, why even the Trump assassination attempt, a lot of people right away were claiming it was fake. People on both sides didn't know if they really believed it or not. People stood in the crowd for a long time. I think the people that were there maybe stood there because of a different reason, but people who were watching it, and it's interesting. I mean, I've watched a lot of stuff on TikTok about it, and surprising how many people thought it was fake. I'm not exaggerating when I say
a lot
this.
of people thought it was staged.
A lot of people thought it was staged as well, which was just a whole nother thing. But a lot of people thought it was fake. So it was a deep fake, which I think is interesting in the fact that a lot of people understand that they really can't trust something that they see on a screen anymore. However, it's also really concerning to me that people can't trust what they see anymore. So something could truly be happening. And you're like, oh, it's just another fake. It's like Crying Wolf. Oh yeah, they're having another bombing over there. Oh, that's just fake. Nothing's going on because I've seen this 18 times already this week. And so
there's a certain vein of that though. I mean, think how far back you go to the moon landings were staged.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. Oh, there's a set in Hollywood somewhere that they did all the moon landings there. It's like, but there's always going to be that little vein of, well, I don't even know if I want to call it conspiracy theory. It would just doubt. My rule of thumb is anything I'm looking at on a screen, take it as entertainment value, and I'll go beyond that myself.
You need to, and one thing is for sure about this, and this is a thing that I really catch myself sometimes on too. Like last night, I seen, actually it wasn't last night, it was a couple nights ago now. Somebody was reporting that Joe Biden is dropping out of the race. Well, that may or may not be happening, but it was being reported as a true fact. And I immediately told my wife, hey, Joe is dropping out of the race.
Oh, you are guilty of that?
I actually got sucked into it myself because there's been so much talk about it. I just assumed that they made it look like it was real. I mean, it was just like it had like one of the major news icons in the background and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, this is a live thing that's being beamed across TikTok right now. And then I dug into it a little bit more and realized that I should not have said that because that is not the case.
It was part of the rumor
at that
mill.
time.
It was not substantiated.
Yes, that's correct. So a person really needs to, before you share something on a social media platform or you see something that then you want to share on a social media platform, you better make darn sure that what you're about ready to post is actually true. Because the problem is that you yourself lose credibility if you start posting stuff out there and then you do this 2 or 3 times and then people find out later on that these things are not true and it was you that they found out the information from. So make sure you check. I know you better not be doing that, you not credible person.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. We're thrilled to have you with us as we continue exploring living with technology alongside Marlo and Steve.
So we're talking about deep fakes, and I suppose maybe some people don't know what they are, so I'll explain it real quick, and then I know, Steve, you have some comments too. So deep fakes there's software out there now that has the ability, and I'm sure many of you have seen this, where they can take like your face. And Jib Jab was probably one of the very first origins of it as a fun little thing, right?
It was a little
you could
tool.
You and Wendy could have upload your photo to a Jib Jab, and all of a sudden you got this cool little Christmas card of the two of you snowmobiling or snowbobbing down a hill or whatever it is with a funny little song and whatever.
So actually, I think it started a little bit before that because filters.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you were able to put filters in.
Right.
And then Jib Jab took it that next notch up. That's where it really blew up.
Yep. But now it's gotten so good that you can drop a face in some place and a voice, and you could say,
"Hi there."
Yeah, I mean, Tom, yeah,
Cruise.
Cruise. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, Tom Cruise probably like.
Did you have a Tom and Jerry?
Yeah. Obviously need to have a Tom and Jerry. Tom Cruise is probably the most deep faked celebrity out there. I mean, it's amazing. There's actually accounts like on TikTok and Instagram, and they just state right up that they are just faking him, but they'll walk up to people and do something. And then after they're done with their deep fake, it looks like Tom Cruise had participated in a conversation with these people. So it's really interesting. And you can, I don't know how you even tell the difference without some type of computer scenario, some type of computer program that can actually say, all right, this is Tom Cruise and this was a deep fake. So that's how good it is. The challenge with it, of course, is that if you have anybody of any significance, pick on a president, pick on anybody of power, and you can have a president state that we're going to war, for example, or the stock market has crashed, or vice versa, and put the whole country in a panic. There's that window of opportunity between the time that it was released to the time that it's discovered it's a fake. And how many people see it in that time? Does it go viral right away and 100 million people see it, or do only three people see it, right? I mean, but the chances are that when it's something that significant, that a lot of people will see it, and that will just create a whole panic. This is my concern with deep fakes.
Well, you can talk about the financial market side of that. Specifically, it's like, okay, I have the ability to crash the stock market for an hour. What can you do in an hour?
Oh, just incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Before your deep fake gets
discovered. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, nope, interest rates are coming down 2%. 2 points. Dropping at 2 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you You could easily say, hey, the feds came out an hour early than what they said they're going to be out at 3. They're out at 2 o'clock today.
Yep.
And they made this announcement. And boom.
99% of people are not going to question it.
No, they're just going to say, oh, they made the announcement earlier than normal. Okay. And the next thing you know, you're making all of your stock market crashes or.
See, I think that's part of the deep fake, though, is there's a little bit more. If you're going to do something orchestrated, there's more orchestration behind it than just the IT side of stuff. So great examples. Okay, the Fed's going to come out at 3 o'clock with a statement, blah, 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 and it'll dictate what the markets do for the coming week. Trading places.
Oh, yeah.
With the orange juice.
Yes. That's a
commodity
great example, right?
Great example. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. So you correlate something with something that's already going to happen, and people just don't question it. It's like, oh, it came out a little early. Okay. Well, you've got that window now to create a whole lot of chaos.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you about is the Trump assassination attempt. What did you notice when shots started in the crowd?
Well, they didn't. I've seen, when things like this have happened in other crowds, and they generally try to get out.
Right.
I don't know if you're talking about the fact that they all kind of stood their ground and was like, like we're participating in, like, well, where are these shots coming from? And
no, I was going actually down a
different,
cultural road.
Yeah.
Because instead of diving for cover or safety or getting out of there, people maybe hunkered down a little bit. What everybody have in their hand? Their phone.
Oh,
they
sure.
were more concerned about getting video of what was going on than I need to make sure that myself and whoever I'm with is safe.
Yes.
It was about the phone. And we've talked about this in the past where, somebody's getting robbed or beat up on the street and nobody's going to help, but they're whipping out their phones.
Yeah. I will say, so that's interesting that you brought that up.
It kind of PO'd me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, where? And for me, it was, we're there as a society now. I mean, because we're there.
Not everyone.
Your personal safety, foregoing the safety of others, foregoing other things that you should be doing first. But I got to get the video.
Right. But not everywhere. So on the 4th of July in Mandan here, as you know, I've been part of the parade for a long time, and I don't chair the parade anymore, but still participate in the morning of. And one of my big duties is to walk the parade down. So it sets the pace of the parade, helps with, fewer gaps.
I've noticed the parade's getting longer and longer and longer. I think you're slowing down.
Thank you. Yeah. And anyway,
pick that up.
And it's a safety thing as well. I mean, I'm at the front of the parade. I can call things in that I see and I monitor the crowd and all of this stuff, right? So one of I looked back. We were about ready to stop because I allow we stop occasionally so that the honor guard can take a quick break, get some water, because it's hard to carry those flags.
Right.
It's 2.6 miles. I mean, it's a long time to carry these things. And
when it's hot, it's hot.
Yeah. This time it was not hot, though. It was not. But anyway, one of our honor guard was having a little bit of a trouble. And I noticed that one of the others were helping him out. And I have a feeling I'm going to run out of time here. So I will, I'm just going to stop right there. I'll tell the whole story on the other side. Okay. So that we just don't fragment it. And, but you're right, Steve. I mean, we're in an era right now where people would rather pull their phone out and share it on social media, with the event unfolding in front of them and not even care about their own personal safety anymore.
If you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology. The Tech Ranch.
Supertalk 1270.
This is Ag Issues with Neil Roberts.
Welcome to another edition of Ag Issues. Our guest this week is NDSU soybean pathology specialist Wade Webster out of Fargo. And Wade, let's talk white mold in this report. Describe white mold for the audience. Where does it come from? What does it look like?
Yeah, so white mold is a fungal pathogen of a lot of different crops that we see within the state here, particularly within soybean, which is my particular role. But we can also see this on sunflower and dry beans and canola as well, which a lot of farmers out there might be familiar with. This particular pathogen, it does survive, is what we call sclerotia. They look like little small rodent droppings that are out in the field, oftentimes finding that after harvest. And these sclerotia, when they're released into the field, they can survive for up to 10 years. And so that's kind of what we're looking out for, potentially at harvest and then going into the crop for potential management issues.
All right, good stuff, Wade. Hey, we'll have more on white mold when we come back.
Nelly at the Skydancer Casino and Resort. Outdoors, Saturday, August 17th. Gates open at 7, concert at 8. 3-time Grammy-winning rap superstar, live at the Skydancer Casino. Make it a weekend by booking your room now. Get your tickets for Nelly at SkydancerCasino.com.
Travel a little, save a lot. MJ McGuire's in Rugby.
McGuire's is your Ford, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, and Jeep dealer in Rugby. Hi, this is Zach. Come in today and check out our great selection of new and used vehicles. Plenty to choose from. So give us a call or come in today and see me. McGuire's. Great people, great prices, great products.
Travel a little, save a lot. MJ McGuire's in Rugby.
Talking white mold today on Ag Issues with Wade Webster. And Wade, when can we anticipate white mold to really develop out in those fields?
So white mold, this pathogen, again, it really thrives under very cool and very moist environmental conditions. And so, again, in 2024, with all the moisture that we've had and the relatively cool temperatures, that's where we're seeing this risk starting to increase. In canola fields right now, there are predictive models for canola showing very high risk, and those risk models are very much conducive also into soybean. So we're seeing continued moisture as well as cool temperatures, especially once we hit that canopy closure in the soybean fields. That's when we have, again, more moisture, reduced airflow through that canopy, as well as a little bit of cooler temps due to extra shading.
Hey, that puts a wrap on this report. If you missed one, catch us on the website, agissues.com. Until next time, I'm Neil Roberts.
You've been listening to Ag Issues, brought to you in part by Skydancer Casino and Resort in Belcourt, North Dakota, by MJ McGuire's in Rugby, and by Bremer Bank. Contact Bremer for all of your ag banking needs.
This is the Pet Minute. I'm Steve Dale. The true meaning of hot under the collar. Next. Your dog loves going to the dog park and seeing his buddies. Maybe sometimes when you travel, he gets to hang out with friends at his favorite boarding facility. Social dogs like yours need more protection than most. By pairing Bordetella Protection, also known as kennel cough, with immunity against canine influenza, we can help ensure these dogs stay healthy. Merck Animal Health wants you to talk with your veterinarian about pairing up for protection with vaccines for your dog for kennel cough and the canine influenza virus. Don't wait, vaccinate. It turns out that humans commit more violent crimes when temperatures and air pollution is higher. Researchers considered reports of dogs biting humans, finding that dog bites increase in hot weather. Human aggression has complex psychological and sociological roots about dogs no one knows. It may be in part when it's nice outside, dogs are outside more. Or maybe it's really that heat stimulates aggression. For the Pet Minute, I'm Steve Dale.
Welcome back, everybody. So excited about this next interview. I had a chance to visit with the founders of Crypto Hopper at CES. And this is actually a software that I use a lot because I do a lot of crypto trading, so to speak. And Crypto Hopper is great for that. So I hope you enjoy this interview.
So a lot of people have a lot of questions nowadays about blockchain, cryptocurrency, all these type of things. And I think the confusion behind or around it maybe prevents a lot of people from being involved in cryptocurrencies. So Crypto Hopper may have solved this a little bit, right? So Ruth is here, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this. So tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Crypto Hopper, and Crypto Hopper is an automated trading tool. So normally cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum are traded on so-called exchanges. Most famous one is, for example, is Coinbase. You can also get Binance, Kraken. But those exchanges only offer limited options like buy, sell, set a stop loss. But if you want to trade more advanced, you need a software tool to help you. And that's what we've created. You connect it to your exchange where your funds are, and then you can trade automatically. So you can set out a strategy with all kinds of technical indicators, and it'll trade automatically on your behalf. But the reason we're here on CES is because we got a lot of questions from people who were like, yeah, what is an RSI? What is a MACD? And how does it work with all those technical indicators? So what we've created is a marketplace where professional sellers can share and sell their knowledge to the broader audience. And the audience can that way mirror the way the professional trades. So it's a really easy way now to start trading and to really trade like a pro using technical indicators.
So one of these indicators, and I'm just asking questions because maybe I don't understand like I should, right? So let's say an indicator would be that the price of oil drops to below $40. Could I set that as some type of marker that says at that time, and if Bitcoin isn't at $4,000, I could purchase Bitcoin because oil dropped to below 40?
That's even what we call a trigger. So you can set a trigger that if it's below a certain amount, it will trigger. But what I mean with indicators is you have like an RSI. An RSI is a technical indicator. Normally people, professional traders, will check their trading view and will check if the market is oversold, for example. And you use all kinds of algorithms like an EMA or an RSI to check what the market is. And that's that's what we call technical analysis.
Okay.
And we've automated that process, so that's great for the pro. And what's even better is that for the beginner, you can just simply follow a pro or buy his strategy and execute it automatically.
Okay. So is Crypto Hopper, is this a subscription type of service? Is this a per transaction type of service?
So we have created a software as a service, so you pay per month. We have a 7-day trial. And what's really great with something called paper trading. So you can deposit fake money, like Monopoly money, and then you can test it out and you can practice, which is really great because you have to, when you start out, it's all new. Bot trading is super new. And we want people to start out risk-free. And once they feel comfortable enough, then you connect it to your exchange and then you go for real.
I think a lot of people think cryptocurrency is monopoly money anyway, so this might actually bring people into more understanding of this.
This is Monopoly 2.0 with you. No, I understand. It's all very new. And blockchain is relatively new. Bot trading is incredibly new, so there's a lot of new stuff coming for the people. But it's a really exciting time. We've got a lot of attention here at the booth.
That's great.
We've been selected as one of the 50 hardest startups of the Netherlands. We have, which is really great, was that yesterday we had the State Secretary of Economic Affairs at our booth.
Very nice.
And I asked her, ma'am, can I ask you, what do you know about Bitcoin? She was actually not so familiar with Bitcoin. So I had the honor to explain everything about cryptocurrencies to her, what our software does, and talk a little bit about the future, and that regulation should be a good thing in the Netherlands, and that the market has to grow and the technology has to mature. And that was really great. So we already have some connections now with the Dutch government.
Very nice. So where do we find out more information about Crypto Hopper?
You can go to cryptohopper.com. We have free trials, so when you create your account, you can start out for free. You will be guided to the whole process.
Play with your Monopoly money.
Play with the Monopoly. Don't connect it immediately with your exchange, but use the Monopoly money.
Yeah, that's great. This is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson, at CES 2019.
Thank you.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a town square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Momentum is growing for Vice President Kamala Harris to become the Democratic nominee, but she's also facing criticism for comments on the Israel-Hamas war. After meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu Thursday, Harris said she would not be silent about what she called the tragedies in Gaza.
Even more recently, she talked about the young people who have been protesting this war. She says it shows what human emotion should be. Although she does say she absolutely rejects some of those statements, but she understands the emotion behind it. But important to note that that has been her tone almost this entire time, since at least December.
ABC's Irene Shaw. At a Turning Point event in Florida last night, former President Trump telling Christian voters they only have to vote just this time and that they won't have to do it anymore because, quote, it will be fixed. American Katie Ledecky just won the bronze medal in women's 400-meter freestyle. This is ABC News. A statement claiming responsibility for the sabotage of the French train network ahead of the Olympic opening ceremony was sent to various media today. It reads like an anti-capitalist manifesto criticizing the games and is signed by, quote, an unexpected delegation. No proof that the claim is genuine. A 40th anniversary showing of Purple Rain today in Minneapolis, Prince's hometown where the film was made. ABC's Ashen Singh takes a look back.
The first release, When Doves Cry, beating out Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark for the #1 spot. The album going on to win 3 Grammys and cleaning up at the American Music Awards.
Thank you very much.
Even collecting an Oscar.
I could have never imagined this in my wildest dreams.
Prince would continue to push boundaries. Then, unexpectedly passing from a fentanyl overdose in 2016.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text RIP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text RIP to 42424. That's RIP to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent.
Supertalk 1270, Bismarck area weather.
With your forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. Hot today under mostly sunny skies. A high of 92. Add in a little humidity as well. Slight chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon. For tonight, slight chance of a storm. Lows around 66. Scattered showers and thunderstorms on your Sunday. Otherwise, partly sunny, 85. Grandpa's barbecue sauce is perfect for summer grilling. Get a bottle at grandpa'sbbqshop.com.
It's 89 at our studios. From ABC Sports, I'm Joey Waller. ESPN's Adam Schefter says Packers quarterback Jordan Love has a 4-year, $220 million extension, his $55 million annual value, tying for the NFL's highest ever, with the Bengals' Joe Burrow and the Jaguars' Trevor Lawrence.
The two sides had made enough progress that they knew they were close enough to the finish line, and the Packers really wanted Jordan Love back at practice and under contract. It was a double whammy, and so the two sides have been going back and forth all week long.
American Olympians in Paris today. Women's swimming, Katie Ledecky wins bronze in the 400-meter freestyle. Synchronized divers Cassidy Cook and Sarah Bacon take silver. American cyclist Chloe Dygert claims bronze. Men's soccer, the U.S. handles New Zealand 4-1 in their opener, but Brody Malone falling twice on high bar, once on pommel horse, knocking him from the all-around competition. For their drone spying during opponent New Zealand's practices, FIFA penalizing Canadian women's soccer 6 points, that hurting their chances of advancing to knockout round play, and Bev Priestman suspended from coaching for a year. ESPN's Jesse Rogers says the Blue Jays are trading reliever Nate Pearson to the Cubs for a prospect. Mets handle the Braves, their 5th straight win. But at his first start this year, back from injury, Mets ace Kodai Senga suffers a grade 1 calf strain. Manager Carlos Mendoza now says the righty's likely out for the regular season after a slam against Atlanta. Teammate J.D. Martinez reacting to the Senga news.
It's a tough piece to lose, but there's no sense in dwelling on it. He's going to do everything he can to come back, and hopefully he's back by the playoffs. But There's a lot of baseball left, so we just got to keep it going.
Mets leapfrogging Atlanta atop the National League wildcard standings. The 3M Open in Minnesota right now. Maverick McNeely 12 under through 12. Now tied for the lead with Taylor Pendrith. Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
Summer is heating up, just like the deals at Omaha Steaks. From perfectly aged steaks to juicy burgers, Omaha Steaks is your summer grilling headquarters. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale at omahasteaks.com for exclusive, unconditional money-back guaranteed packages starting at $99. Plus, get an extra $10 off with promo code QUALITY at checkout. Visit omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY for an extra $10 off. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale today before these deals go up in smoke.
Omaha Steaks, America's.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Conservative talk without apology. The Regular Joe Show with Joe Gigante. Weekday evenings at 9 on Supertalk 1270 and the free Supertalk 1270 mobile app.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
So Steve was just, at the Trump rally it was in.
Oh, hold on a second. Before you finish talking, I want to pull my camera out and video you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Get this moment for social media.
Thank you. If you're just catching up to us. So, by the way, welcome to the Tech Ranch. Steve Bakken, Marlo Anderson here. We are.
I'm in that big pile of leaves you see up in the tree. That's not a bird nest. It's where squirrels live.
That's about right. Yeah. We're not, maybe we're just talking about tech and everyday life right now, because we haven't really talked a lot about normal technology stuff today.
Yeah, but that's
okay though.
That's the foundation of this program.
That's correct.
When you and I started doing this, it was about how technology affects people's lives and plays into everybody.
And today has been exactly that.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about any gadgets or anything today. It's just been about using technology in the life and all the craziness that's been going on lately. So at the assassination attempt on Trump, at the rally before the RNC convention, you had made an observation during the shooting, and that was...
everybody wasn't concerned about their own personal safety as much as I got to get my phone out and get the video, because people may have ducked a little bit or hunkered down, but you didn't see people diving for the floor. You didn't see people diving off the bleachers. You didn't see people trying to get out of there as fast as they could, but they had their phones in their hands. Got to get the video. Oh, hey, what's going on with Trump on the floor with the Secret Service piled on top of him? What's going on with this? Oh, hey, the guy next to me got killed. The people next to me got wounded. People were taking pictures, videos, not worried about their own personal safety. That's cultural. And it's been getting that way. We used to joke about the person getting the selfie that falls off the cliff. People have zero regard for the cliff anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And of course, there's all kinds of scenarios, like when the young lady that was raped on a subway in New York City a couple of years ago, and all those people that took video of it.
Nobody helped. They took the video.
Nobody helped. Right.
It helped after the fact for prosecution. But
right. Nobody
didn't help her in the moment.
Nope. So anyway, and we were just talking about maybe it's this way everywhere, and I don't think that's quite the case yet. And I was just talking about the 4th of July. So I've chaired the parade for many years on Independence Day in Mandan, and I don't do that anymore, but I still help out, and I still walk the parade down. And we had this medical incident with one of the honor guard right before we were about ready to take a break. I looked back, noticed that another honor guard was helping. It seemed like one of the gentlemen was having a hard time hanging onto or holding up the flag, and another honor guard had come over to help with that. So now this person is trying to juggle with two flags. Plus, I noticed he was kind of holding them up, and I'm like, "What is going on?" So I walk back there real quick and realize that this one gentleman is having some type of medical situation going on. So kind of got that situated, hung on to him for a brief second. The parade's actually moving along yet in front of me. I guess it's just the honor guard. They don't even realize that, half the honor guard that was in front of us, because he was in the second row, didn't even realize this was going on. And we talked briefly. He's like, let me just go back to the trailer. And I'm like, it's a good idea. And for about a half a second, I'm like, I should probably help this guy. But he convinced me that he was okay. He could walk back there. Well, he took 2 steps and then just gone, just falls to right on his face, just out, just like that. And I mean, the whole crowd, just like this, and within seconds, there were medical people there from the crowd. There was some nurses and some medical assistants and whatever that just come running right over, immediately start CPR on this gentleman. And it was really impressive. And within, 40 seconds, the parade is very well staged, and we had ambulance right there and all of this. So it happened very fast. But I didn't see one person with the camera out. I actually noticed that. And the mayor, our new mayor, came up to me too. And he's like, first of all, he's like, "Do you need anything?" I said, "No, I think we're good." Hopefully, I was really concerned. I didn't think he was going to survive at that point. Found out later he just succumbed to heat exhaustion, even at 70 degrees. I was really surprised at that. And he's, other than a broken tooth and some stitches in his face, he's recovering well. But
hot, heavy clothes, and it was humid, though.
And it was humid.
Hot.
That's correct.
Humid.
That's correct. And it just that also opened my eyes to, doesn't have to be hot to succumb to heat exhaustion.
I tell my wife this all the time. It's like, we have black dogs. It can be 40 degrees out when the sun's warm in the spring. Sure. It's like they don't go as far on a walk.
Right.
They get hot.
Right.
Because the sun's got power.
Yeah.
Now ratchet up the humidity on that, and people don't realize it could be a cool day, but you have to guard against it.
Absolutely. But even our mayor had mentioned that, and I had coffee with him a little later on, and we were talking about how that we didn't see anybody, not a single person, have a camera up recording this.
Aren't you glad we live where we live?
It was really impressive. So yes, I'm very glad about where we live. And I thought that was just characteristic of being where we are in North Dakota. So that was kind of a cool thing that came out of, and everything was good, so yeah.
See,
I'm just sharing that story with you. So it's not everywhere.
You restore my faith in humanity a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I could do that. And that whole incident, actually, I really thought about that a lot afterwards, because I've been in those other scenarios where something significant's happening and nobody's willing to help.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the only person. I mean, one time I had a person fall in front of me in a store, and I'm the one administering CPR. Nobody's helping. Everybody's like filming this thing. And I'm like, what the heck?
You find it's a little bit of a difference between rural and urban.
Yes.
Where you're at and just the makeup of.
It's almost like it's entertainment value. Like if you live in a big city and you go out on the streets and something happens, it's just taking the place of the screen that you're normally in front of watching these things go on. I truly feel that is kind of what it's like all the time now. You have to be entertained everywhere at the expense of maybe somebody else's life. It's an interesting scenario that we're in right now in a lot of parts of the country.
Remember the movie Bloodsport? Rollerball,
yes. I remember Rollerball.
The Roman Colosseum. I mean, you don't need tech all the time to lose a little faith in humanity.
That is true.
But incidents like that, when people come out of the crowd, That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad we live where we live.
Absolutely. So yeah, all it takes is just watch Rollerball.
And we're back with the Tech Ranch. Get ready for more amazing tech insights from the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
All right, I need to know, Steve, do you have memory implants, or what's the deal? Because your knowledge of movies is, I don't know anybody who has knowledge of movies like you. First of all, how did you have all the time to do this? Do you have a memory implant? You can just plug the movie in and then instantly, like an AI type of scenario. Have you actually sat down and watched thousands and thousands and thousands of movies in your lifetime, 2 hours at a time, and actually have the ability to recall all of this information?
I'll have a lot of movies on in the background while I'm doing something else. And a lot of them are ones I've watched because I don't really connect into media. It's kind of background entertainment for me.
But how do you recall it like you do then?
Because when you watch it or hear it enough times, not necessarily watching a movie, because I've got my top 5 all-time greatest movies, and I know them word for word. If it's on, it's like there's movies like a little bit more current, Twister, Shawshank Redemption. Those are movies that, if they pop on, okay, I'll leave that on while I'm doing something else.
Right.
So you kind of osmosis over and over and over again.
So it's like most people's background.
Instead of background music, it's background movies. But growing up, I mean, my Saturdays were I went to the Dollar Theater
here in Mandan.
Downtown. In Grand Forks.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. That's right.
I would walk to the theater.
There was a Dollar Theater in Grand Forks as well.
Didn't everybody have one? Actually, it was a quarter on Saturday.
I don't know did Bismarck.
The matinee.
Really?
Yeah, for the matinee on Saturday. It was like the second run of movies. And
I don't know if Bismarck ever had a dollar movie. Maybe they did. The downtown cinema maybe at one time. But I know Mandan always had the...
Well, because there was a theater in the Kirkwood Mall at one point.
There was. Yeah. Yes, I went to many movies there.
But no, so I just... They're kind of my background noise, and I just absorb them. And the other side of being in the media, you have to be up on what's current.
Right, pulp culture type of stuff, I suppose.
And so, I started out my radio career.
I never thought about that,
40,
sure.
So you have to stay up on all that stuff.
Okay.
So,
So it's no different than me knowing all these little intricacies about computers because I just do it all the time.
But what's weird is I'm a big aficionado of genres. So I have a file in my brain for John Wayne movies, and a file in my brain for good Westerns, and a file in my brain for World War II movies, and a file in my brain for the really good comedies from the early 80s and late 70s. And they click in different places.
I smile when you said John Wayne. I just watched this bit with Don Rickles and John Wayne. I don't know.
And I love old comedians too. And so Don Rickles. And I was watching something with Jonathan Winters the other day.
Oh, I bet that was great too.
Yeah.
He introduces John Wayne because John Wayne wants to be a comedian.
Yeah.
So they did.
And Rickles and Wayne and Winters were all really good friends.
I didn't know that. Yeah, it makes sense though, I guess. But yeah, it was just hilarious because John Wayne
saw himself as a comedian,
reading from these cards, and trying to do these jokes, and people were just dying because it wasn't that his delivery was just a cowboy trying to deliver these comedic jokes, and everybody's laughing over the style, not the joke, right? It was hilarious.
I mean, very dry, very straight, very kind of stiff, and he thought he was the funniest guy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was hilarious.
I've actually heard some pretty good inside baseball John Wayne stories because I'm acquainted with his granddaughter, and she's an up-and-coming country music artist, and she's in a group called Runaway June.
Okay.
And yeah, she's told me some pretty good John Wayne stories.
I bet so.
That I appreciate greatly as a huge John Wayne fan. So, but yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the movies and things, I'm impressed with that. And
but the other thing is, though, for me, a lot of stuff comes back because of my love for Star Trek. And take a look at all the things that have come out of the movie that are actually cool things now. And
between Bond and Star Trek.
Oh, and I equate, if it was in a sci-fi movie, it's either was or going to be a thing.
Right.
You could equate so much stuff back to sci-fi movies.
It's like somebody's dreamed it up and then they watch it, or somebody else dreams it up.
Yeah.
Somebody watches it and they're like, oh, I could make that. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's kind of what happens with it, I think. Yeah, and if they can't make it, they make something similar, like instead of a communicator, they're like, oh, I don't know if we can communicate from planet to planet, but we could make something that looks similar that we could do on this planet.
Right.
And just start calling each other. And the next thing you know, we have flip phones that look like communicators. Captain Kirk.
They don't make that cool sound, though.
They don't. They did make a phone that did make that sound, though.
Did they really?
Yes, you could find them. Yeah, I bet if you looked on eBay or something, you could probably still find the Star Trek communicator that was a cell phone.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
I've been thinking about going back to a flip phone. I would for that.
I wonder if you could, like Samsung has the foldables now that actually fold like a flip phone, not the Z that go wide. They actually are smaller like a flip phone. That would be fun if you could. And I bet you that would probably do it pretty quick. Like when Kirk would, throw his arm out and it would open up like that. That would be so cool. And then it would be and then you could just have your ringtone, the communicator sound.
Oh, yeah.
That would be cool. Or not your ringtone, but the notification sound or whatever it would be, like the notification when your phone opens, right? And then it would just make the communicator sound. That would be fantastic, actually. We should work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
So do you have a problem between talent? Because you have so many movie things that do you have to sometimes look at something and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that was a movie, not real life?
No.
Okay.
No. But I usually go the other direction where it's like something will be going on. I'm like, I've seen this before. I'll have a moment of deja vu. I'm like,
gotcha.
Oh, wait a minute. That's the plot from so and such sci-fi movie.
Right.
Well, now we're just living in real life.
Yeah. Like Idiocracy, the documentary.
The documentary.
The future documentary.
It's the prophetic movie that it is.
Oh, my goodness. That movie just cracks me up when I watch it. And I watch it and I'm like, oh, my goodness. Well, okay.
It's what plants crave.
You wanna get there? Who spoke at the RNC? A wrestler by the name of
Hulk Hogan.
You've returned to the Tech Ranch, where technology is our passion. Let's jump back into the conversation with Marlo and Steve.
I know you have some space things you want to talk about.
We do, but before that, I have to tell you a funny story about my neighbor.
Okay.
So he came up to me last week and it's like, because he's got the cool autonomous lawnmower, the one that looks like the race car, stickers on it. And he's been tinkering around with that for a while, and he was talking about having to move his antenna, and he's like, well, it might be moot because there's this new one that I want to get, and it's got this and this and this, and it does this. I'm like, oh, you mean the Yarbo? He's like, yeah, that's it. How do you know about the... I haven't told him about it. I'm like, well, we talk about the Yarbo quite often. And he's like, I can't wait till it snows. Well, because they're in the crowdfunding stage and they're taking orders.
Right.
He's like, I can't wait until it snows with this. It's got this blower attached. Yep. It'll take your garbage out too.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, I'm working on the poop picker upper part.
Can you imagine 5 years what our neighborhoods will look like 5 years from now when everybody has a Yarbo on their yard, mowing it and moving the snow off of it and taking your garbage out, and
that's
never have
one
to worry
thing
about this
about my neighbor, and you see the lawn, but you don't necessarily see, like, unless you're living next one or have one, you're not looking what the mechanics behind getting your lawn mowed on a regular basis looks like.
Right.
So you drive by and you see this nice manicured lawn, and or occasionally you might drive down the street and see that there's a autonomous lawnmower out there, and you don't think about it, but it just never stops working. So your lawn is always this manicured height for whatever height you set it at, and it looks impeccable, and it helps it grow better, and it just things you kind of take for granted because it's like, oh, okay, chore, I gotta mow my lawn once a week, and in that week it's like, okay, well, that variety of grass that's mixed in is growing a little faster than the other one, or it rained a little bit over there and it didn't, because it's shaded by a tree,
right?
So you get this uneven lawn. Autonomous lawnmowers, there is no uneven lawn. It's meticulous all the time, and it's, I mean,
and they're getting better all the time too.
I'm sold. I am just sold.
They are actually, there's another one that's out. That is a weed zapper.
Oh yeah,
you've seen this? Pew, pew. Yeah, they use lasers and they zap your weeds. So like an autonomous mower, it'll go over and do this. My guess is that the next iteration.
Couldn't get the lasers on sharks, but they got them on the weed zapper. All right.
My guess is that these two technologies will combine sometime in the future. So the mower will just go over, and as it's mowing, it sees a weed and it'll just zap it, and that'll be that. That'll be cool when that happens.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I have to admit, I mean, my autonomous mower has been not as great this year, but it's on me because we had to redo our driveway because of a significant water break in the winter. So we have a brand new driveway now, but when they put the driveway in, they messed up all of the wiring that went around because I put the wire down instead of doing a GPS one. And so that's been all messed up. And of course we've had all this stuff going on in our yard. So putting the wire back down in the proper spots in our yard is the last part of the process, right? And I'm getting close to having that done. So the mower now has just been kind of running. It gets hung up in spots.
I just thought of another job for Logan.
Rolls on the. Oh yeah, he will love to help with that when it's ready time to do that. But we're getting close to having the mower going back on it again. And then I had to replace the blades in it. I guess I didn't have to.
Really?
But yeah, mine has 3 like razor blades, two-sided razor blades that spin underneath.
Oh, okay.
So the deck underneath spins, and these things twirl at the same time. And one of them,
virtual circus going on.
Yeah, there. Pretty much, right? But one of them, the screws is stripped on the inside. I can't get it out of the thing to replace that third blade. So I'm having it run right now, and I could tell.
If you go to the hardware store,
do you have a trick to do this?
They have a little.
So the head itself isn't stripped; it's the threaded part itself.
Yeah, that's easy.
How do I do that?
Do you chew gum?
Chew gum, and then what?
Foil. Little aluminum foil.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get that to reseed.
That's interesting.
I mean, that's the quick, easy fix for it.
Do you put a little aluminum foil on the bottom side, and as you twist it, it'll actually pull it up into the
you just wrap the screw in it, and it'll.
So I don't need the
pull the screw out.
I can't get the screw out. That's the thing.
Okay, then
so that's where it's at.
Okay, without stripping out the head of the screw.
Well,
okay. They also have a screw extractor.
It just kind of spins in the space. It will, but it's still threaded enough that I don't want to just yank it out because I don't want to ruin the threads that are in there.
Tighten it in the first place.
I didn't do that.
Somebody
that came from the factory that way.
Okay.
So yes. So you're right. I think it's a tapered screw, and now I can't get it
back it out.
Yeah.
I'll drill it out, retap it.
I didn't want to do that. I'm trying to figure out a lazy way. But
Logan!
by By the
You have
time
grandchildren. Come on.
by the time I mess around with every other option, I could have drilled it out and retapped it, right?
Probably.
All right. I'll just get it done.
Or delegate the task.
Yeah. But anyway, with all that said, the amount of time that my autonomous lawnmower has given me back is incredible. 2 hours a week, every week at least. And the lawn is always mowed.
So what have you done with that 2 hours a week?
I have started 3 more businesses.
There you go.
So it's not like I've given myself more time. I'm just doing
It's not like relaxation.
No. Are you? What? Relaxation? Seriously?
I like mowing my lawn. It's like
I do too. And I'm learning.
until I get a yarbo.
I'm doing other things in my yard that I haven't been able to get to or do, right?
The landscaping, the gardening.
Yeah, I'm doing a little more landscaping. I'm doing no more gardening. I got rid of the garden actually, but I've been working on the patio and the deck and brand new deck, and now I'm going to do some cool lighting effects in some of the rock things that we have around the yard and stuff like that. So yeah,
Instead of mowing.
So I'm still messing around the yard a little bit.
All right. I still like mowing. It's
And I go out and look at the robins that have been, building nests or whatever in under my deck. You got to figure that out because it's like every time I find they build a nest and then I let them finish their little birds to grow up, and then I go and move the nest and put a thing in there so they'll build another one, and then they build one in another spot. It's frustrating.
Well, apparently you have to have a better relationship with your birds.
That may be true.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Let's get back to discovering the latest in technology with the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
You've been wanting to talk about space. So are you wanting to talk about something on the U.S. side
here,
or are we talking about the Chinese spy satellite?
Chinese spy satellite? Wait a minute. Well, I was just going to talk about a couple of scheduled launches they've got.
No.
Wait. Chinese spy satellite. What is this now? Now you have me intrigued, Marlo.
I'm sorry I brought that up now. Yeah, there's a Chinese spy satellite. And the thing is that we never really know what China's putting into the air or into the space until after they let go of their payload, right? So they added a fifth Gaofen, I think I'm saying this correct, GAOFEN-11 high-resolution satellite to its Chios constellation with the launch late Thursday. And anyway, after they deployed it, they were able to tell that it was a spy satellite again. Let's see here.
Technically, if you think about it nowadays, with all the capabilities that they all have.
Yes.
Aren't they all spy satellites to a certain degree?
I would imagine because they all have telemetry on them, right?
Yeah.
You can take pictures.
And high resolution.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was looking for here to see how good the resolution is.
Well, I'm curious. It's like, what defines a dedicated spy satellite as opposed to spy satellite,
right?
Or a weather satellite that, oh, by the way, we want to spy with it. I mean, aren't they all kind of capable of the same stuff?
Yeah, and I think even
but it sounds better as like spy satellite.
Even in the last Mission Impossible movie, which is I'm waiting for part 2 to come out here. I think it's next year that part 2 is coming out.
That one.
Yeah, I thought it was this year.
That series.
These last couple have been really good.
I was waiting for the next Jack Reacher.
I really would like to see a new Jack
I wanted another Jack Reacher.
Yeah, but they have it on Netflix or Prime or something now, and it's pretty good there too.
Well, the series, yeah.
But the series is
I meant the
excellent.
Tom Cruise movie, Jack Reacher. I wanted another one of those.
But in that movie...
Or Mission Impossible.
They're fighting AI, actually, and they have to... They basically need to have some type of information coming in that's not digital, so they find an analog weather satellite, and they have images of Earth coming on and everything else, so you can't tell me that, like you said, most of the satellites up there have cameras on them. They have to. At least the people operating them have to see what's going on, right? And they can take a picture of Earth and zoom in, I'm sure. It's a good statement. It's all I'm telling you. Yeah. All right.
Analog's not always bad.
So, all right, the satellites from China, high resolution Earth observation systems. That's what CHEO stands for. Optical, multispectral, hyperspectral, and synthetic aperture radar satellites make up the CHEOs. And I'm not seeing how high resolution these are, but I'm guessing. I mean, the latest ones that I've seen are pretty high res, like a half a meter, which means 1.5 feet. So what that means is like if you're standing 1.5 feet away from somebody, that's how good the resolution is. Isn't that something?
That's insanely good.
It's insane. Yeah, I mean, you could identify ladybugs at that level from 200 miles up.
Not the little soccer players.
No, not the little
the actual
players. Yeah.
Insect.
Yeah. So tell me about the launches. What do we have going on here in the United States?
Well, so there's a launch coming up this weekend.
Yes.
They're setting up an Atlas V.
Okay.
And the cool one is July 31st because it's the Polaris Dawn getting launched. And this one's being touted as a kind of a dry run for the next manned launch.
To the moon? Or
somewhere.
Okay.
They're being really secretive about it, which is kind of, okay, what technology is on this? Because this one's just, when you look, because you can pull up the launch schedule and follow the launch, because, you know, it's a big tourism thing. People go down and watch launches.
I do all the time.
Cool at night. Yeah, but you do it from boats. It's really cool then. This one, there's a little secrecy around it, though, because they're not giving all the details.
I see.
So it's like, there's just something about this one I noticed when I was going through the logbook, that because you can pull up the details and everything as well, and the payload configuration and the manned application, there's something different about this one. So I'm guessing that NASA is doing a little groundwork of that next lunar mission, that next, which is a precursor for the Mars mission. Right. So I don't know. It's kind of exciting. It caught my eye when I was reading through it, because I do that in my spare time. I read through NASA launch. My geekdom's coming out.
So there's a couple things going on right now. If you have the opportunity as a tourist to spend a weekend at a Hilton that floats around in space, would you do that?
Yeah.
Because I'm picking on Hilton. I forget the brand name, but there's actually speculation that a hotel brand is going to put a hotel in space.
Absolutely.
And that you can go there for the weekend or whatever. And
okay, that's kind of the space station thing, but there's two ways this could go. And I'm thinking the space cruise ship or the space hotel. Which one comes first?
That's a great question.
Think back to your Fifth Element movie.
Well, I'm just thinking to myself too. I mean, do I want to go into space just to go to a hotel, or do I actually want to feel what it's like
around the planet for a while?
Well, yeah, I mean, do you want to cruise around at 24,000 miles an hour and feel what that's like and a little weightlessness?
Which one's gonna come first?
So, I think the hotel will come first
because it's static, and then go, okay, just get people there.
Yeah, it's exactly, because it's expensive to tool around the planet.
Because the space cruise line thing, that's coming.
But you could for, let's say, our producer Chris, who's standing here patiently waiting for us.
Is that heavy breathing I felt?
Which means that there's something technically going wrong right now, but we're going to get through this.
Still, internet, yes,
crazy. Yeah, I mean, you could have, somebody could say like every 4 hours we'll have another launch that goes up, so that you take off, you tool around the planet, you land, you load up another 18 people, and you go do it again.
Uber X.
You want to see what Australia looks like at night? Here you go.
And that's a wrap on another fantastic episode of the Tech Ranch. Remember, if you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology.